sunshine we've had all summer. So thank you so much for coming. And this is Eamon's third show at the gallery, and I must say it's a really beautiful show, and we have to thank also David Kerwin. As you probably know, Eamon kind of works on pieces of paper and pins them up in the studio, so when you see them all sort of on the wall of the studio, they look amazing, but then when they come back from the framers, it's kind of like they just look superb, just floating in these beautiful frames, and they have non-reflective glass. So thank you to David for that as well. So just a kind of quick reminder, Saturday week, so that's the 7th of September, Kevin Hughes, so when Eamon had a show last year, a really big show in the Butler Gallery in Kilkenny, Kevin Hughes made this beautiful film. It was about half an hour?
Half an hour. The show, the film in the Butler Gallery.
Yeah, in the Butler Gallery. It was half an hour. And it was about a disused mine in Castlecomer, a beautiful show. But Kevin has very kindly made another video, or kind of a little short documentary about Eamon and how he kind of approached this exhibition. So we're going to have a screening of it next Saturday at 1 o'clock, followed by a Q&A with Kevin and Eamon. So probably till about 2:30 perhaps. If you'd like to go, it's free, but we have a limited amount of seats, so you can go onto Eventbrite and book the tickets. So, but anyway, Eamon would like to say a few words, and again, thank you so much for coming. And if anybody needs a catalogue, there's some over there. You can ask either myself or Molly for it. So, thank you.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be on at the same time as Coldplay. I've included a lot of yellow in my. I'll just talk a little bit about the making of the show, and then I will say my thanks to everybody. Back in 1966, eons ago, my parents, my sister and myself went down to Roundstone in Connemara for the first time, and we were invited down through the I suppose the connection between George Campbell and Jerry Dillon, whom I have, I suppose, continued to name check as being part of my biggest influences on me as a child and as an artist growing up. And there we met a Franciscan brother called Brother William. And Brother William took this city boy and city girl and taught us how to milk cows, grow peas, etc., etc. And did one thing that was amazing for me was he taught me how to make haystacks. And I started thinking about, initially, Tara's already had two of the initial paintings called Butterfly News. When I started thinking about ecology and the whole reason, how we need to change our farming practices, and one of the ways is to go back to that old practice of making a meadow and then cutting it and making haystacks. Because what happens is that you get an increase of wildlife and insect life as a result of that. So I started making these paintings. So the big paintings, the blue one in the window here, the one behind, this one here, are all started from that idea of that shape of the haystack. And then memory kicked in. And memory has a way of leading you down cul-de-sacs and leading you up alleyways and bringing you down to areas that you wouldn't normally think about. And as an abstract artist, that's what happens for me as a painter. I go off in tangents with the paint and try and then bring it back to having some sort of coherence as I'm doing it. And for this show, I did, for the first time in years, I started working on canvas again. And I worked on canvas stretched directly onto my studio wall. And I treated it with no degree of respect whatsoever. And that enabled me to, I suppose, all the paint you see is made by me. I grind my pigments, I add a binder to it, and then I paint it onto the canvases. So the painting is actually a very slow process, and you will see, but if you look at some of the dates, some of these paintings were started in 2019 and only finished this year, so they take a long time to make. For me, that is as important as the process of thinking of what it is I'm doing. So the making becomes, I suppose, a dialogue between me and the canvas. And one of the things that I really feel adamant about is that I now paint for the we in painting rather than the I. In other words, I want you, the viewers, to look at a painting and see things that I myself would never see in those paintings. So I will finish off by thanking Tara. It's amazing to work with you. Brilliant. She puts up with a lot, because I will send her paintings that are wobbly and not she has to deal with that. To Benny, to Molly, thank you very much for all the work. I'm sure I don't answer my emails when I should and all of that, but thank you. Pauline, I love you very deeply. Thank you very much for everything you do. Reuben, wherever you are, thank you for putting up with me as my old man. And I'd just like to say one thing. I have a really close friend here, Des Gunning. Des is going back to Trinity College tomorrow or the next day to study history. And fair play to you, Des. It's a really powerful thing that you're doing, and maybe I might go and do some studying myself in the near future. Anyway, thank you guys for coming. I hope you enjoyed the show. I want the show to reflect beauty rather than the horrors that we're going through in the world at the moment, and I hope that you find it beautiful. So thank you.